Are you ready? Okay, let's do it. Now's the time I'll call the July 22nd, 2025 regular city council meeting to order. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
The record will reflect that 6 members are present with the noted absence of Councilmember Bartow.
Okay, terrific. Now's the time for invocation that will be led by Pastor Emeritus Dave Mann from Calvary Chapel of Costa Mesa. Thank you.
Our Lord, our God, we come together again and ask your blessing upon our council meeting this evening with the business matters and considerations and decisions before us. Bless our mayor, each council member, all our city officials and staff, our police department, chief of police, the entire police force and staff, we pray. Our fire department, fire chief, marshal, EMS, and all emergency response crews, we're thankful for them. Our public works and staff, utilities for the city, marine and safety, or Coast Guard, all businesses and residents residing here in Newport Beach, we ask your blessing upon all. And Lord Jesus, we thank you for your continued presence, guidance, and protection, and love towards us and our city of Newport Beach. We pray the same for our neighboring cities and our entire country. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Councilman Weigand, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, please remain standing and join me as we salute our flag. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, please read the notice regarding public comments.
The City Council of Newport Beach welcomes and encourages community participation. Public comments are invited on items listed on the agenda and not agenda items. Speakers must limit comments to 3 minutes per person to allow everyone to speak. Written comments are encouraged as well. The City Council has the discretion to extend or shorten the time limit on agenda or non-agenda items.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. So today we have 2 presentations, so this is going to be great. Obviously, you've been following council meetings. As your mayor, we've been doing a history lesson of the city of Newport Beach. So we've been talking about the people and the projects of our great city. And I'm very excited. We have 2 individuals here today. And today we're going to talk about the surf culture and the history of the city of Newport Beach, particularly the Wedge, one of the best surf breaks in the world. So the first presentation will be by Tim Burnham and John Caron on the history of the Wedge. Both Tim and John are Newport Beach residents. Tim is the director and producer of the films Dirty Old Wedge and Part of Water. Tim's a state lifeguard, board member of the Ben Carlson Foundation, and a member of the Wedge crew. John is a resident of Newport Beach and star of the film Dirty Old Wedge. He is a boat captain, helicopter pilot, owner of a pistachio farm, good to know, and a member of the Wedge crew since the late 80s. Tim and John, thank you for being here. I'll turn it over to you guys.
Thank you. Keep in mind we are surfers. We don't normally do presentations, so low expectations. All right, especially for this guy. All right, the Wedge. We're going to start off. Short human history. I haven't done a PowerPoint since high school. All right. So, the story of the Wedge begins with tragedy. In 1926, a 15-year-old George Rogers Jr., a boy living with polio, drowned in the rough waters off Newport Harbor's entrance. His body was never found. Heartbroken, his father, George Rogers Sr., devoted himself to a mission. He sold his successful road contracting business and spent the next decade relentlessly lobbying city and federal officials for harbor improvements, especially to protect boats from the deadly surf. His persistence paid off. In 1936, during the depths of the Great Depression, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers extended the West Jetty from about 1,000 feet to nearly 2,000 feet. The new structure calmed the harbor entrance, but unexpectedly, it also set the stage for something wild. When southwest swells hit the jetty, part of each wave reflected back, then slammed into the next incoming swell in what's called constructive interference. The result? Sudden exploding waves as tall as 30 feet, sometimes breaking just yards from the shore. Almost overnight, the jetty meant to save lives had created one of California's most unpredictable and dangerous breaks. Early body surfers named the spot the Hook, but by the 1960s, locals were calling it the Wedge because of the dramatic V-shaped the waves made as they doubled up. Let me scroll through a couple of these. There's the wedge jetty. Yeah, okay. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. George Rogers Sr. died just months after the jetty completion, succumbing to a heart attack while boating through the same stretch of water where his son had disappeared. Apparently it happened in the exact same spot.
The first wave riders in the early decades at the wedge, body surfers were the only ones who could ride the waves because of the heavy, unwielding surfboards of that era. Those boards were about 60 pounds, I think they were. Yeah, about 60 pounds. Couldn't handle the surfboards of that era couldn't handle the steep, fast break. Most boards were simply too big to drop into such shallow, unpredictable wave without breaking, making body surfing the only practical option for decades. Locals embraced the challenge, pushing the limits with just swim fins and skill. The break's reputation spread through word of mouth, but it was Bruce Brown's The Endless Summer in 1966 that brought the wedge to a global audience. The film Spotlight, alongside its broader exploration of surf culture, helped define the wedge as both a rite of passage and a symbol of raw and unforgiving surf.
John, keep going.
Sorry about that. We practiced long nights for this. Yeah, thanks. Wedge kneeboarding. In the late 60s and through the 70s and 80s, kneeboarders introduced a new way of riding the wedge. By staying low on their boards, they were able to maintain control on the steep, fast-moving waves. Some of the most well-known kneeboarders of that era included Ron Romanowski, Terry Wade, Bill the Demon Seiler, and Bill Sharp, among others. Along with riding, Ron Romanowski was also a respected photographer who captured powerful images of these riders, helping to build the wedge growing mystique and legend.
Okay, the wedge crew, more than just surfers. Over time, a tight-knit community, the wedge crew, emerged. Crew members became known by colorful nicknames reflecting personalities or surfing styles, reinforcing a sense of camaraderie and local identity. These nicknames are part of the wedge's enduring culture and signify respect among those who ride this famous shore break. He's already lost. Local innovations. Oh, my turn. Sorry. My turn, sorry. The need for better propulsion and control led to critical fin innovations. Fred Simpson, a passionate body surfer and longtime wedge regular, created the Viper fin in the late 1970s. The Viper's design gave body surfers more speed and maneuverability, quickly becoming the fin of choice for wedge locals. Decades later, Sean Starkey, another wedge body surfer, built on Simpson's legacy by developing the Yucca fin. Inspired by the Viper and shaped around the needs of the wedge's heavy shore break, Yucca fins are designed for comfort, power, and agility in rough surf. Just like the Viper, the Yucca fin is a product of local riders solving the unique challenges of the wave, continuing the tradition of innovation that begins with Fred Simpson.
The bodyboard revolution. In 1970, Tom Moray, invention of the bodyboard, also known as the boogie board, revolutionized wave riding at the wedge. Unlike traditional body surfing, which required expert swimming skills and years of experience, the bodyboard made it much easier for almost anyone to get out and ride the wave. This opened up the wedge, once a proving ground for only the most skilled and daring swimmers, to a much broader group of people. By the early 1990s, bodyboarders had become a common sight at the break, drawn by the board's lightweight design and easy maneuverability and heavy shore break. But the sudden surge in popularity brought new challenges. The wedge quickly became overcrowded with inexperienced riders, adding to the danger of an already unpredictable and powerful wave. Accidents and close calls became more frequent, and tensions grew between newcomers and longtime locals. The crowded, chaotic scene that resulted made the wedge even more unpredictable and unsafe, prompting calls for new rules to protect both riders and the break's unique character.
All right, black ball rules, keeping it somewhat orderly. As the wedge's reputation drew more and more riders, crowding and conflict became serious concern. The sheer number of people in the water, combining body surfers, kneeboarders, bodyboarders, and stand-up surfers, especially during the summer south swell months, turned the break into a chaotic and sometimes dangerous spot. Tensions often grew between experienced locals and newcomers, especially as bodyboards made the wave accessible to less skilled wave riders, increasing the risk for everyone. To address this, the blackball flag policy was established in 1993, clearly designating hours and seasons for each type of watercraft. From May 1st through October 31st, between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m., boards of any kind, surfboards, bodyboards, skimboards, are prohibited inside the official wedge area. During these daily blackball hours, only those using swim fins, body surfers, are allowed in, creating a level playing field where skill, not equipment, determines who gets the wave.
Today's wedge. The wedge is far more than a legendary wave. It's a community cornerstone, drawing body surfers, bodyboarders, surfers, skimboarders from around the world, all united by a deep respect for each other and for the sheer beauty and power of the break. Here, a culture of mutual appreciation prevails, where the blend of adrenaline, risk, and awe fosters a unique camaraderie among those in the water and those on the sand. As a staple of Newport Beach life, the wedge continues to inspire stories, rituals, and connections that span generations. It deserves official recognition as a historical site, not just for the wave itself, but for the art of body surfing, a defining local tradition deeply embedded in the identity of the city. This wave will remain a living landmark and a place of lore and a source of community pride for decades to come.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was on Frog House.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Tim and John. Well done. Yeah, we want to know more about those nicknames, guys. Were any of those photos of the two of you guys body surfing in the waves? John was in. That was incredible. Good for you guys. Well done. How many neck surgeries have you had, Tim? That's incredible. Well, thank you for what you guys do, and that was a great presentation. Great history on the wedge. Okay, thank you. You're welcome to stay the rest of the meeting if you'd like. I'm kidding. All right, so the second presentation is a recognition of volunteers who have served various city boards, commissions, and committees. So I'd like to welcome up and invite forward to the podium Maureen Flanagan, who served on our city's art commission, and of course Lee Lowry, who served as a city planning commissioner on the city planning commission. Unfortunately, Scott Cunningham, who served on the harbor commission, and Barbara Gladman, who served on the city arts commission, were not able to join us today. Do we have those certificates?
They're on their way, Mayor.
They're on their way. Okay. This is going really well. Why don't you guys speak first, and then I'll do the certificates afterwards, if that works. And you just get a moment to say how you enjoyed your time on the Arts Commission? Or?
Again, I'm Maureen Flanagan. I had a great time serving on the Arts Commission, learned a lot. I learned a lot about city politics and all that entails about working on a city art commission, and I really enjoyed it. It's a great group of people.
I love
Thank
that. Well done. Planning Commission.
Lee Lowry, a former planning commissioner from Newport Beach, and it was just a great honor. I learned so much and just learned so much about the city after 8 years, and especially obviously on the planning side. And it's such a great commission that we have two city council members that were my former colleagues, are now in the city council, between Eric and Lauren. But it was a really wonderful 8 years, and I really appreciate it. First, I want to give thanks to city council for putting your trust into me and being on the board there for 8 years. Would also like to thank all of the applicants that came in. I mean, so many wonderful projects came into the city, and so much from those applicants, so much time, money, and effort to make our city a better place from those people and from those applicants. So appreciate their time, and can't say enough about city staff. Simone, Jaime, you guys have just been wonderful, and I do this also for a living, more so in other states, but our staff is hands down the best, and I just really appreciate all of their efforts. And last but not least, Sarah and Vincent for giving 2 Thursdays away for me to come and be a planning commissioner for the last 8 years. So again, thank you very much.
Well done. Thank you both. I think it goes without saying that we're forever indebted to both of you. I think when you talk about a city like Newport Beach, and you talk about the boards, commissions, and committees, which almost all of us have served on at some point in time, it's kudos to individuals like you who are willing to step up and serve and volunteer your time, obviously not being paid, and credit to your families for allowing you to take that time off to do it. The city of Newport Beach is well blessed, and we're rich with a lot of natural beauty, but it's the people and the contribution from individuals like you that help make us Newport Beach. So with that, we'll come down here, we'll take a photo. I have the certificates now, so we'll do a photo and go from there. Oh, flags up. All right. Well, thank you, Maureen and Lee, for being here. That was great. What? Go for it. No.
Lee, before you leave, I did want to just take a moment to thank you. I was going to come to your final Planning Commission meeting, but I was out of town. But the dedication, we worked together for a bunch of years on the commission, and sometimes now being on council, there were meetings where we'd go till 11, 12 o'clock. So you guys are pretty lucky that those meetings aren't as long as they were for us on Planning Commission. But to Sarah, there's a lot of time away from home, and now you have Vincent, and I think I was on the commission when you didn't have any kids, Lee. So now, but I appreciate the amount of time you gave to us, and it was fun the years that we served together. And I know Lauren would say the same thing. We both had a lot of fun doing that, and we got to learn the steps. And it's Planning Commission is City Council light, and you get a chance to learn a lot of things that you get to use up here. So I appreciate all your hard work and service to the city. I know you'll be around for quite some time, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Awesome. All right. Thank you both. Terrific. Okay, now is the time for council announcements or reports from council members on committee activities, and the time for council members to request an item be placed on a future agenda. Councilmember Weigand, do you have any announcements or reports?
I do not. We're on a break from vector control this month, and then I have a sanitation meeting tomorrow.
Okay, terrific. Councilmember Grant.
Yes, I have a few. Thank you. I wanted to congratulate Sean Levin, our Director of Recreation and Senior Services, on a wonderful report he gave to Speak Up Newport on the gems of Newport Beach. And let me tell you, there's a lot of gems, parks, recreation, all kinds of activities. So thank you, Sean, for that great presentation. I also was able to attend an elected official roundtable discussion for the Measure M2 10-year review, and that was offered by the OCTA. It was very informative about how they're using those monies, and especially projects that were specifically geared towards our city. It's wonderful that we are able to get a portion of those proceeds to enhance our city. And I also attended the Association of California Cities summer legislative reception at Wild Rivers. I was wearing a suit. I did not wear a bathing suit, but many of the attendees, including I think another colleague of mine that's sitting up here, did go in the water. That's an opportunity for electeds to get together. I sit on the board of the ACCOC, representing the city of Newport Beach along with other coastal cities. And it's a chance to get together with other electeds and understand what's going on in the county and in the state, and how we can work together to better our community. And finally, today, you'll see in this picture, we celebrated the second year of the Newport Beach Animal Shelter in operation. It was the second year anniversary, and we were there. That's the board of Friends of Newport Beach Animal Shelter. Our city mascot, Officer Bubbles, who's an official police officer, is on the right there with the party hat. And there was a dog. The dogs all got to eat the cake, and it was a great opportunity to recognize the great work being done by our Newport Beach Police Department Animal Control Division in operating the shelter and serving our community that way. That's it.
Well done. I think Officer Bubbles would go well with the wedge crew. Put him right in there. Councilmember Blom.
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. Councilmember Weber.
Nothing.
Mayor Pro Tem Kleiman.
No report.
Okay, and then I will just say, busy couple weeks, but the highlight was the Ben Carlson Foundation, the Scholarship Awards dinner that the Ben Carlson organization and foundation put on at the Balboa Yacht Club. So it was incredible. They highlighted 3 scholarship winners, and I would just say it was a wonderful evening and 3 well-deserving individuals. And the future is bright with our next generation, that is for sure. So congratulations to the entire Ben Carlson team and the foundation for what they did. Okay, Madam Clerk, please read the notice regarding public comment on the consent calendar.
This is the time in which council members may pull items from the consent calendar for discussion. Public comments are also invited on consent calendar items. Speakers must limit comments to 3 minutes. Before speaking, please state your name for the record. If any item is removed from the consent calendar by a council member, members of the public are invited to speak on each item for up to 3 minutes per item. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will all be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. Council members have received detailed staff reports on each of the items recommending an action. There will be no separate discussion of these items prior to the time the City Council votes on the motion unless members of the City Council request specific items to be discussed and/or removed from the consent calendar for separate action.
Okay, my understanding is that California law requires an oral report related to agenda items 6 through 8. Ms. Lang, do you have a brief report?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mayor, Mayor and City Council. Those items 6 through 8 are resolutions to approve the Key and Management Compensation Plan, as well as MOUs with the Newport Beach Fire Management Association and the Lifeguard Management Association. Because the salaries and benefits provided to the city manager, city attorney, city clerk, department heads, chiefs, and assistant chiefs are impacted by these changes, we are required by California law to provide an oral report regarding these changes, which include, and I'll list them through here, on the salary schedule side, changes to the salary schedules for the city manager, city attorney, city clerk, department heads, and other key and management employees to accommodate an increase in each of their base salaries by 5% effective July 12th, 2025, 4% effective July 11th, 2026, and 3% effective July 10th, 2027. The salary schedule regarding the fire chief and assistant fire chief to accommodate an increase in each of their base salaries by 9% for the fire chief and assistant fire chief, and 6% for the assistant chief lifeguard operations effective July 12th, 2025. 4% for all 3 positions effective July 11th, 2026, and 4% effective July 10th, 2027. The CalPERS retirement contribution, a change to the CalPERS percentage contribution to 8% for non-safety Tier 1 and Tier 2 employees, 13.6% for Tier 1 and Tier 2 police and lifeguard safety employees, and 13.5% for fire safety employees. And for Tier 3 employees, Tier 3 employees would pay the statutorily required 50% contribution of total normal cost, but not less than any of the other members. Next, cafeteria allowance. The cafeteria allowance will be increased by $300 to $2,205. Holiday pay and closure for non-safety employees, the fire chief and police chief. Holiday leave will include full-day holiday pay for December 24th and 30th. And holiday closure, I don't think it's the 30th, I think it's the 31st, sorry, for December 24th and 31st. And holiday closure pay for up to 3 days for the period between December 25th and the 31st. Holiday closure safety for the assistant police chiefs, assistant chief lifeguards will be 3.7 hours per pay period. That'll be paid for holiday compensation pay, and the assistant fire chiefs will receive 5.6 hours per pay period. And that concludes my staff report.
Okay, terrific. Thank you for the report. It's also my understanding that the city staff wishes to continue agenda item number 3 to the next meeting. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, to the August 26th meeting, please.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. Councilmember Wagon, do you have any items to pull from the consent calendar or conflicts to announce related to items 1 through 21?
No, I do not.
Councilmember Grant?
Yes, on item 3, which has been pulled, but I do have a conflict relating to an interest in my business partner's personal residence.
Okay. Councilmember Blom?
Thank you, Mayor. I have a conflict on item number 5 due to business interests at 417 30th, 224 Marine, and 2902 PCH. And I have a conflict to announce on item 24 due to a real property interest at 417 30th and 501 30th.
Okay. Did you get all that? Councilmember Weber.
I have a conflict on item number 15 due to my personal residence.
Okay. And the Mayor Pro Tem Kleiman.
Yes, so I also have a conflict on item number 3, which, yes, is being pulled based on my interest in my personal residence.
Okay. And I have none. Do we have a motion?
I move the consent calendar, including amendments to agenda item number 1, city staff's request to continue agenda item number 3, and the submitted amendments to agenda item number 6, noting the following conflicts of interest. Council members Weber, Grant, and myself are conflicted on agenda item number 3. Councilmember Blom is conflicted on agenda item 5, and Councilmember Weber is conflicted on agenda item 15.
Okay. Do we have a second? Okay. Councilmember Grant seconds. We'll now have public comments on consent calendar items 1 through 21, except item 3 that was pulled.
Mayor Stapleton, members of the council, my name is Jim Mosier. Item number 18 is in part the fiscal year 2024-2025 annual district discretionary grant report. The city of Newport Beach has a reasonably long history of providing limited financial support to important institutions in our city and groups that provide public benefits to us all. I believe the staff report for this somewhat mischaracterizes this particular component of that gift giving, which was added to the city policy in 2001. The staff report says City Policy A12 allows the City Council to, at any time during the year, direct funds towards worthy projects or programs which the City Council deems beneficial to Newport Beach residents' quality of life. That would be fine, but the policy that was instituted in 2001 actually allows individual council members, not the City Council as a whole, to direct funds to causes of their own personal choice. And as the staff report says, currently that allocation is $6,000 a year. I think that policy is completely wrong and in conflict with our city charter, because my understanding is that we elected the 7 of you not as individuals to make decisions for us, especially not to make individual decisions as to how our money should be spent, but to act collectively as a body and to make your decisions together. And this policy is contrary to that. Also, as part of the policy that originally in 2001, the council members were supposed to acknowledge to the public what contributions they had made at the meeting closest to the time they made them. In 2010, it was reduced to this annual report, which is supposed to summarize and provide the public benefit for each of those. I would submit that while some of these indicate what the public purpose was, about half of these simply say donation. And I would submit that donation in of itself is not adequately identifying what the purpose of the donation was so that the public can understand why you made those donations. And finally, I would like to commend Councilmember Noah Blom for having the discretion to feel that he was not obligated, assuming that this is a correct and final report for the year, to exhaust his entire $6,000 fund. Thank you.
No comment. Next speaker.
Adam Leverins, even with still 20 items on consent in 3 minutes, it's impossible to address everything that I think is of importance. So I'll start with consent agenda item 6, which the city manager just gave a brief overview on, as well as some of the other items. And from the staff report on that item, quote, the desired goal of entering into new contracts with more robust total compensation offerings, and the city wishes to provide additional benefits to the K&M key and management employees, close quote. I will note that Agenda Item 7 is a memorandum of understanding with the Newport Beach Fire Management Association, 8, Newport Beach Lifeguard Management Association. Agenda Item 9, eliminate 2.42% of the CalPERS contributions for a group of employees. And then Agenda Item 12 is a contract between part-time public employees in Newport Beach. And if you add up all the figures on there for 2025 through 2028, it's $12,086,000. And I just, like I say, people should know this. I think a lot of employees here are pretty generously compensated and benefited. And just, like I say, as I mentioned at the last meeting, you can look on Transparent California and look all that up. It's very enlightening. Agenda Item 14, something nice, restroom renovation contracts being paid. I've checked out the one down by the ferry. The contractor did a very nice job there. I hope the one at 15th Street turns out that nice. Number 16, the renewal of the lease for the bait barge at the entrance of the harbor. That is important. Glad for that. Number 19, response to grand jury findings regarding short-term rentals. I see a later agenda item, which I'll talk more about that. And then number 20, the homeless update again, talking about 71 homeless individuals down to 11. Again, note that a lot of that reduction is the camping ordinance pushing them into adjacent communities. And I know Councilwoman Grant has noted the efforts of the city in this regard, which are appreciated, but this is an ongoing problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
Not a surfer, but I'm not a good public speaker either, so if you'll bear with me. Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Todd Priest. I'm a longtime resident here in Newport Beach, 26 years in January. But this evening I'm here speaking on behalf of the Newport Beach Short-Term Rental Alliance. So the Alliance consists of Newport Beach property owners, residents, managers, and others who are focused on ensuring that our memberships provide a good balance in our neighborhoods. We want to make sure that as we move forward with these types of businesses and operations, that they're an enhancement to the city and not something that is a deterrence for the city. I think most of us agree that we're a city that a lot of people have viewed as a vacation rental location. Families have been coming here for years. I think, and the item I'm speaking on is item 19, the grand jury's report. The staff in the report indicates, going back roughly 60 years, we've had short-term rentals. But I would venture to say we've probably had them a little longer. I think there's some old photographs and things of some beach cabins that go back into the 1880s. Maybe they got a couple pennies from their neighbors that came down from Pasadena, but we have a strong history of that here in Newport Beach. So we're often hearing the term vacation rentals, because that's what a lot of people do. They come here and vacation, and with those tourist dollars, they help maintain the city services that are essential to all of us, including public safety and the like. So just like other lodging establishments, we have requirements, and the Alliance is really coming together just so we can start talking about the best practices, working with the city to say, hey, where are the areas that we have in common that we can work together and enhance the experience for everyone. There are several things in the grand jury report that I wanted to point out, and to city staff, whoever drafted that report did a fine job, and they turned it around real quickly. We had just begun looking at it, and then I saw, oh my goodness, the city already has it on their agenda. So well done, staff, on that. One of the areas that I think we have an agreement in is the TOT collection process. Most cities struggle with that. It's a fairness issue for some, and are you going to report it on time? So we would like to work with city staff and see if we can streamline and come up with a more responsible way to make sure that the city gets its appropriate share of the TOT. Would also like to work with the city on the auditing provisions. We think that's an appropriate thing that the grand jury pointed out, just to make sure that those operators are paying what they are supposed to pay to the city through those audits. We'd also like to work with the city on the wait list. I know there's an item coming up later on in your agenda, but the Alliance doesn't speak to specific projects per se, or we'd be, buried in talking with every STR owner. But we want to talk about the good policy and how we can help as a group. And I know the wait list is one, and there are several others in that report. So in closing, just wanted to announce that the Alliance was now operating in the city, and we look forward to working with the council and the staff. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you for your time. Any other public comments on consent calendar items? Okay, seeing none, any additional council comments? All right, let's vote.
Motion carries unanimously by those members present and with the noted recusals on items 3, 5, and 15.
Okay, terrific. Madam Clerk, would you read the notice regarding public comments on non-agenda items?
Public comments are invited on non-agenda items generally considered to be within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Speakers must limit comments to 3 minutes. Before speaking, please state your name for the record.
Okay, we'll now move into public hearings. The first one is item 22, resolution number 2025-51, Community Development Block Grant Consolidation Plan and the Annual Action Plan and Citizen Participation.
Were we doing public comments still?
That'll be later after public hearings, right? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're fine. Of course. Okay, do any council members need a staff report on this item? No?
I think you wanted me to speak on non-agenda items. Yeah, they have just public comments on non-agenda items is for public hearings.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
sorry, you're
thank
correct
you.
then. Come on up. You got a better agenda than I do. All right, we'll go to public comments on non-agenda items. The floor is yours.
Appreciate it. My name is Miles Patricola. I'm pretty sure that some of you voted for Trump, and I'm hoping that some of you didn't. Either way, you currently have a responsibility to use your platform as elected officials to speak out against our truly horrible president.
So I think it's important to keep it within the subject matter jurisdiction of what the council's here for, and I don't think the national political scene is really within the subject matter jurisdiction.
I disagree.
Well, okay. You need to keep it within what they have interest in and what's of interest to the city.
I will do that.
Okay, thank you.
Am I getting any of that time back?
Sure, just continue.
Okay. Donald Trump visited our city last year for one specific reason. Our city is home to wealthy Republican donors. Your constituents help fund races in Orange County and across the country. As elected leaders, you have a unique opportunity to speak directly to these donors whom you represent. You can help them see that they've been lied to, misled, and manipulated. You can help them understand that the presidential candidate they supported last year is not a conservative, he is a con artist. Start using your platform as elected representatives to explain how the donations of your constituents fund policies that hurt veterans, weaken disaster responses, defund consumer protections, and set the stage for 17 million Americans to lose Medicaid coverage. Many of your constituents could call the head of the RNC tomorrow and complain about the political and economic turmoil created by Donald Trump and leverage their immense wealth to threaten the campaign funding
once again,
efforts
sir,
of Republican candidates
sir,
across the country.
This is not within the subject matter jurisdiction of what the council's here for. So if you can bring it back to something about Newport Beach, that's fine. But if you just want to talk national politics, that's not within their subject matter jurisdiction.
It's not national politics. It's informing their constituents who they represent.
I think you're basically talking about national politics, which was not within the subject matter jurisdiction of this council.
Well, it's related to national politics, but it's not exclusive.
Well, if you keep it within the subject matter, you can continue. I don't want to shut you off and have to ask you to leave, but you need to make it about Newport Beach. You can't be about President Trump and the national politics.
I think you're splitting hairs, and it's not about national politics, about local issues that they represent and have control over, because their constituents have been misled and manipulated and are subject to propaganda, and they have been victimized by the Republican Party. So
Okay,
they
let's
are
just wrap this up.
representatives of constituents that are misinformed and they have the ability
Miles,
to be
you're speaking
leaders
to us
in their
right now.
community.
You're not talking to the city attorney. So why don't you finish that,
You're talking
please?
to me. I'm talking back. And this is my time, so I don't know why I'm getting interrupted.
Because it has nothing
Because
to
it
do
has
with what
nothing to do with the city of Newport Beach right now.
In your opinion. May I continue? Thank you. You could help end the corruption of Trump profiting from public office through self-enrichment schemes, including his crypto coin, his wife's coin offering, and insider trading tied to tariff announcements. You could help end Trump's attacks against free speech in the press, due process violations against immigrants, and attacks against higher learning.
Thank you.
Nothing to,
All right.
nothing to do with it. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Miles, that's enough. We're good.
So you'll need to stop speaking, or we'll have to have you removed from the council chambers. That's enough. You're not speaking about things in the subject matter jurisdiction. Your time's up. Thank you for coming, but that's all for tonight.
Goodness.
Your time's already
Your time's
expired.
expired, Miles.
But why don't we have a conversation about this offline at some point, and then we talk about like what's the subject matter jurisdiction and what's not. We appreciate your coming down. We know that you have strong beliefs about the national politics.
Thank you. Any other comments on non-agenda items?
My name is Doug McClain. I am a homeowner and resident of Newport Beach, living in the Newport Terrace townhome community. I am an elected member and past president of the HOA board. I am here to speak on behalf of the community. This past May, the association prepaid for and entered into a 7-day trial agreement for goatscaping. The work was to be done in limited areas of a green space in the middle of the community. The goal was both fire prevention and invasive plant management. The association employed a vendor that had performed a different service, bee removal, for the community in years past. We did not understand that what the vendor's proposal called evening animal care was the vendor living on the premises in a dilapidated RV. 3 days into the agreement, it was clear the goats were a safety hazard and would not eat the invasive plants. The vendor was informed that the contract would not extend past the trial period and that he should leave immediately. The vendor did not leave. Counsel for the HOA served notice to the vendor that he was trespassing. When contacted, the City of Newport Beach Police and Animal Control claimed this was a civil matter for the HOA and not a city issue. In doing so, one city employee imitated it was all due to an HOA error. As it has proven to be an error, it is a very similar error that I believe a couple of you in front of me have made with a photo op with this man. The police did issue citations for having farm animals where it was not allowed. Over the past 2 months, the Newport Beach Police have been called to the property numerous times by both Newport Terrace residents and the goat vendor. The goat vendor has called out the police stating he needs the fire road unlocked to be able to leave, only to want it unlocked to bring in additional vehicles. The goat vendor intentionally intimidates residents, particularly women. Our property manager has made a formal trespassing complaint to the city police for the removal of the vendor, his vehicles, and the goats. The residents of Newport Beach pay taxes at the same rates for less city services than Newport Beach residents who live on city streets. The HOA fees, private additional taxes, cover many costs, such as street maintenance and parking control, that the city provides as normal services to other Newport Beach residents. The residents of Newport Terrace are being deprived of a city service action they deserve and need. Trespassing is a criminal act. Penal Code 602 PC. I am imploring this body to take what appropriate and justified action they can to protect the tax-paying citizens and direct the appropriate city staff to remove this trespasser, impound his vehicles, remove his animals to a location where they can be safely kept.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have you been in contact with our city attorney?
Yeah, I'll be happy to talk to you about that. We have, I know we have several criminal cases pending against the individual you're speaking of, and we are trying to bring a comprehensive approach to get him to comply with the law and to move on. So I definitely hear where you're coming from with that, and we are taking action related there too.
My name is Terry Blake. I also live at Newport Terrace since 2011. I've been involved in the...
Terry, will you bring the mic down?
Oh.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay. I moved to Newport Terrace in 2011 and have since been involved with the Landscape Committee in an effort to go California native in our 14-acre open space known as the Meadow. The biggest challenge is invasive plants, especially weeds such as black mustard and garland daisy that not only grow dense strands that crowd out natives, but also pose an extreme fire hazard, especially around the 4th of July fireworks. Every year we battle against these invasive plants since our community is adamantly against herbicide and weed whacking just spreads the seed heads, we thought that we'd give the goats a try. My concern was that they'd eat everything, and how do we keep them away from desirable plants? For that reason, I was resistant to the goat idea. Dale Wilcox assured us that the goats would be kept tethered always and easy to keep away from off-limit plants, and the community was so excited. They were so excited about these goats. So I go, let's give it a shot. It might work. It could, but it didn't. Day one, when the board president, Leslie Bailey, and I went up with him to mark boundaries for the goats, he didn't even know where they were. When he called for them, the mama goat greeted me with a painful headbutt. And, what if it had been a child? That would have been scary. We insisted the goats must be tethered always, and he assured us they would be, but they weren't. On day two, he encouraged people to feed the goats with grain he provided. That evening, a child was headbutted. We asked him to leave. He would not. The police and animal control were called, but they were unable to help us. It's heartbreaking to see the damage the goats have done, as he's made no effort to respect the boundaries we've set for him and his goats. Don't even eat the weeds we hired them for. Many of our native plants have been chewed to the ground. An established 8-year-old coastal live oak is now dead and another seriously compromised. He has let his goats into the common area where roses are his favorite, among other things. While it's painful to see the damage of our native plants that we've worked so hard to get established, our community is deeply concerned about the welfare of the goats, as they're often left without water and protection from coyotes. Police and animal control are called out more days than not, while the goats continue to run amok, eating practically anything except the weeds we hired them to eat. The police, animal control, and code enforcement, they've been really, really nice, stand up, they're good and so helpful, but they seem equally frustrated, saying their hands are tied. We're begging the city council to help save our meadow and keep our children safe. This isn't your ordinary squatter. So thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Any other comments on non-agenda items?
Hello, my name is Sarah Zimmerman. I am too part of the Newport Terrace regarding the ongoing threats and harassment by Mr. Dale Wilcock. Mr. Wilcock was hired for goat gazing services at the beginning of May for 7 days. Despite termination of services, he has refused to leave, creating prolonged disturbances, and has required repeated police involvement. The Newport Beach Policeman Department is familiar with the ongoing issues and acknowledge their hands are tied. On June 28th, I personally served Mr. Wilcock the paperwork after he evaded multiple court-appointed servers. Then on July 15th, while walking with my 11-month-old child, he deliberately followed and harassed us. He filmed my child without consent, refused to stop when asked, and verbally attacked me as a mother, an act that was deeply frightening and intimidating. Since then, I have had to alter my morning and afternoon walks with my child in fear of Mr. Wilcox may harass and follow us again. On July 14th, just a day before my incident, Mr. Wilcock aggressively confronted a community member, blocked their vehicle, and falsely claimed he was struck when they attempted to leave. Witnesses confirmed this matter was untrue. The officer concluded no crime had occurred and suggested Mr. Wilcock fabricated the event, as well as his actions were manipulative and calculated to cause distress. Weeks earlier, he falsely reported being assaulted by an elderly woman in the community, an incident proven false by a ring camera footage. Police again deemed his behavior irrational and calculated. Mr. Wilcock routinely disregards the law and behaves as though he is above it. His false accusations damage reputations, disrupts lives, and causes emotional harm. Many more incidents have been documented, but listing them all out would exceed well over my time. His ongoing escalated conduct threatens the safety and the well-being of our community. We respectfully ask for urgent assistance from the City Council in resolving this matter to ensuring the protection of our community. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Happy to know I'm the last one on the goats. Thank you for your time and service to our beautiful city. I'm Leslie Bailey, president of the Newport Condo Homeowners Association in District 2. I'm sorry that Michelle Bartow can't hear what we have to say today. I do appreciate the city attorney and the council listening. You heard from several of our homeowners concerning the trespasser in our community, and my time will be spent providing an analogy to really kind of bring home the crime and terror our community is facing from a goat herder we hired in early May for a 7-day job to eat invasive plants in our meadow. Imagine you have a handyman that periodically fixes your fence. You've used this handyman for years, and one time you mentioned you need to have your kitchen cabinets painted. He says he's also a painter, and you can see from his advertising that he is, so you hire him for a 7-day job to paint your kitchen cabinets. When he arrives, he parks in your driveway and takes out all his equipment. When you do the walkthrough, he claims he can't paint kitchen cabinets, but he can paint walls. You ask him to leave, you pay him in full, and he refuses and begins painting your walls in your living room, splashing paint on your floors and carpet. You call the police. They say they cannot intervene because you hired this person and allowed him to park in your driveway with all of his equipment. When the handyman takes a break, you lock him out of his house. He breaks in, changes your locks, and continues painting random rooms, random colors, and starts yelling out your windows at your neighbors. You call the police again. Again, they cannot intervene. He takes a break, and you change your locks. He breaks a window to get in and continues painting, ruining your home, your furniture, and harassing your neighbors. You call the police again. Your neighbors call the police, all to no avail. The police tell you they share your frustrations, and they do. The police and the animal control have been wonderful partners, but their hands have been tied. You fear for your safety, the safety of your neighbors, and the integrity of your home. And this is really the crux of the problem, months of harassment and destruction of our property and our meadow with no end in sight. So we've come here to plead the city council and the city attorney to help us remove this trespasser, because even today he remains on our property, harassing and frightening community members and destroying our meadow to such an extent it's going to take us years to recover. So I thank you for your time and attention to this matter that adversely affects hundreds of citizens of Newport Beach. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Okay, well, to our Newport Terrace people, it sounds like our city attorney and our police are working very hard at this, so we'll continue to help find a resolution to bring peace to your neighborhood. Thank you for coming out tonight. Appreciate it. Okay, no other public comments on non-agenda items? Okay, we'll go now into the public hearings. Our first public hearing is item number 22, resolution number 2025-51, Community Development Block Grant Consolidation Plan, Annual Action Plan, and Citizen Participation Plan Amendment. Does anyone on council want a staff report on this? Okay, seeing none, let's go ahead and skip to number 3. So we'll now have we'll go ahead and open the public hearing on this item. Mr. Mosier.
Mayor Stapleton, members of the council, my name again is Jim Mosier. The fact that you don't need a staff report on this suggests you're much better informed about it than I am, which is perhaps not surprising. But as I understand it, we have these community development block grants that you have to approve each year, but this is a 5-year major report. which happens only once every 5 years, and I thought the staff report was a little cryptic in explaining it. Apparently there was a committee of 2 of you that explored it in more depth. I'm looking at page 5 of the staff report, which has the table that I believe is for the coming year's allocations. These are funds we received from the federal government. For starters, it was not clear exactly how much money we have to spend and whether if we do not spend the money, it goes into an account that it rolls over so it can be used in future years, or it gets returned to the federal government. That seems a pretty fundamental question. And the amount is unclear. There seems to be mentioning we have a $402,000 grant, but then there's also $315,000 or something. And for those of you who've been on the council for some time, you recall for many years the biggest expense was paying off a loan that we had for improvements in Balboa Village. That's presumably has gone away now. And this doesn't really explain what the ramifications are of that. And in the table of proposed expenses, there is an administrative fee going to apparently a new company, Michael Baker International. It does not explain how they were chosen for a 5-year contract. Normally in a staff report, you would see if there was an RFP, if there were other companies considered and why they were chosen. Maybe they already are a contractor, I don't know. And under capital projects, we have, well, in that category, we have an amount for them that seems to exceed what it says is a limit. I don't know if that's a typographic error or not. And under capital projects, we have an application from an organization that is, I think, well respected, called Trellis, offering to do senior home maintenance. It seems like a kind of project we would want to support, but we're offering no funding for them, even though we potentially have $261,000. And the explanation here seems to be that in the last year they didn't have any qualifying projects. But they didn't have projects last year. I'm not sure why we would not offer them the opportunity for projects in the coming year. And finally, a major part of the staff report is the consolidated action plan, which is only provided by a link. And I would mention that seems kind of incomplete. It has some appendices to it, and the appendices, one of which is supposed to explain the public survey process and results, is all blank. So I assume it needs some further work before the city manager submits it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comments on this hearing item? Okay, seeing none. Any questions or comments here from council on this item? Okay, terrific. Do I have a motion to approve this item?
I guess go back, just a clarification. I did not catch that discrepancy in administration. There was a limit of 80,000 in the header, and it does equal more than 80,000. So just maybe we could have a quick explanation. I'm assuming that there is an explanation and just wanted to make that clarification.
Good evening. Lauren Wooding with the Community Development Department. Councilmember Grant, yes, there is a little bit more that's allocated under administration than the annual grant provides for. However, we do have program income that will be used to cover that amount.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so we've closed the public hearing. Any other further comments by council? None? Okay, I'll look for a motion on this item. Okay, Councilman Blom, you want to, okay, Councilmember Weber will first and Councilman Blom will second. Let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously by those members present.
Okay, terrific. Next public hearing, item number 23, ordinance 2025-14, amending Title 21 of the Newport Beach Muni Code related to comprehensive Muni Code amendments. Does anyone on council need a staff report on this item? Okay, seeing none, we'll go into public hearing. Now is the time for public comments on this item. Okay, seeing none. Any questions or comments by council? Someone prepared to make a motion? Okay, Councilmember Blom first. Do I have a second? I'll go ahead and second it. Let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously by those members present.
Okay, terrific. All right, next public hearing, item 24, Newport Beach Muni Code amendment related to short-term lodging. Do any council members have a conflict to announce on this item? Okay. Councilmember Blom, you have a conflict?
That's right. I have a conflict due to real property interest at 417 30th and 501 30th.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. Any of the remaining council members need a staff report on this item? Okay, seeing none, we will now open public hearing on this item. Any public comments on this item?
Adam Leverins again. I was at Coastal, or attended Zoom when this came before them, and some of the things that concerned coastal commissioners and a number of other speakers who I had not been associated with, but just happened to see them because I was watching. The limit that a property owner in these particular zoning areas, I can't refer to them exactly, the mixed use, like where there's commercial and residential on the peninsula. For anyone to have a short-term lodging permit, they have to have 20 or more units. And that caused a level of concern. I mean, there's a lot of second homes in Newport and third homes and fourth homes. I mean, myself, I think I've mentioned this before, I would like to see some sort of host-only percentage on short-term lodging. At a recent council meeting, we had a historical presentation where somebody talked about Bal Week in the past and the extensive partying. A lot of short-term lodging is kind of like the same thing on a lower scale. But the fact that the 20 limit cap, or having to have 20 of these in one particular zoning district, it restricts any person, you know, any mom and pop, it's catering to big business. And as much as I've been coming here, it seems like I see a lot of things that look like they cater more to big business than the constituency. And I think that should be contemplated on some level. I don't know, you know, could somebody have 5 units or 7 units rather than 20? No individual taxpayer, I don't imagine, is ever going to own 20 units in one of these zones. And I just, although it makes it easier for the city to manage if it's all under one business, a big business, that's not fair to the people that own these properties, in my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
Mayor Stapleton, members of the council, my name again is Jim Mosier, and in the absence of a staff report, for those who don't know, this is an ordinance that was previously essentially approved by the City Council and submitted to the Coastal Commission for their concurrence with it. They recommended some changes, so it's now coming back to you for introduction as an ordinance with those changes that they recommended. It has to do with allowing short-term lodgings in mixed-use areas where they were formerly not allowed within the coastal zone. I would second the comments of Mr. Leverance. I do not know why we have this restriction that we've proposed, even though it may have been approved or certified by the Coastal Commission to require an applicant to be the proprietor of 20 or more units to qualify for this. But the thing I wanted to point out to you is that, as you well know, the city of Newport Beach has a cap on the total number of short-term lodgings that can be in our city, which is very important to the residents. And our understanding of that is we're only allowed 1,550 units in the entire Newport Beach. But not all of Newport Beach is in the coastal zone. And if you follow what happened at the Coastal Commission meeting and their staff report, their understanding is that we allow 1,550 in the coastal zone alone. And it is written with that understanding that 1,550 is the cap for the coastal zone, and it's up to you, the City Council, to figure out what that implies for the rest of the city. I think it's probably okay the way it's written, but before this comes back for a second reading, you might want to make sure that you're not inadvertently doing something to upset the cap for the entire city by allowing the Coastal Commission's understanding of 1550 in the coastal zone alone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comments on this hearing item?
Hello, Mayor and City Council. You guys got a difficult job watching you guys back there. The things you got to listen to. So I'm here about this item 24. I am a resident of Newport Beach. I've lived here for 15 years. I've had various properties here. I do have a property as oceanfront. I'm between 22nd and 23rd Street, that little group of houses right there. A number of my neighbors have short-term lodging permit, and this house I bought as an investment. I bought it 7 years ago. Unfortunately, at that time, I didn't realize I wasn't going to be able to get a short-term lodging permit because I wasn't aware it was a mixed use. It was a duplex. I just thought I was buying a duplex. So I'm asking that. I understand that there's 20 units or more that you're looking at to approve this. I don't feel it's fair to the hardworking man that works hard to have an investment and votes for you people. And we have this corporate people that come in and are kind of like taking over our city. I work very hard to make my properties look nice, represent Newport Beach. And I just don't think it's very fair. Residential's, you don't have that with residentials to have 20 units to be able to get a short-term lodging permit. So I just don't feel that it's fair to the rest of us. I think it's discriminating. Also being as a minority and an American, and yes, I did vote for Trump, I worked very hard to be able to live here in Newport Beach. I was on an HOA. I live on Lido Island. And I've done well for myself, and I just don't see the justice in what this 20-unit thing is. I feel that it should be available to all of us. I'm surprised there's no more homeowners here saying the same thing, because where I live, it is. There's a lot of partying and stuff, and I think some of the agencies have taken a better role in cleaning up some of it, because I have neighbors on each side that have rentals, and some of the corporate companies that we had here, they're not really here as much as some of the local agencies. And I just feel that to be fair to everybody, I feel that you should not allow 20 units or more. I feel that it should be like myself, I have a duplex. I think we should have the same opportunity as your single-family residences. So I hope you do not approve this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And no matter how this goes, if you want to send me an email, I'm happy to get together offline, since you're in District 1 in Lido. So send me an email, we'll get together. Yeah, well, both are in my district, so happy to sit down and meet. Yeah, there we go. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Your tax dollars hard at work. Yeah. Any other comments on this public hearing item? Okay. Seeing none, I'll bring it back up here to council. Any other additional council comments or questions? Okay. Someone make a motion on this item? Okay. Councilmember Weber first. Do we have a second? I'll make the second. Let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously by those members present and with the noted recusal of Councilmember Blum.
Okay. We'll bring Councilman Blum back here. This is item 2020. This is item number 25, ordinance number 2025-17. This is the third amendment to development agreement on Uptown Newport Plan Community. Does anyone have a conflict on this item?
I do have a conflict to announce due to the fact that one of the property stakeholders is a source of income for my husband's company.
Okay, terrific. And I also have a conflict regarding this matter and will need to recuse myself based on real property interests in the properties located at 4100 and 4110 MacArthur. Given the mayor's and the mayor pro tem's conflict, I will go ahead and turn the meeting over to the most senior council member, Councilmember Blom, to handle this matter. The floor is yours.
It's frightening for a number of reasons, but jeez, come on, we're trying to move this meeting along, Joe. Wonderful. All right, let's roll into item 25 right now. Council members, do we want a staff report on this item? Looks like we do not. Wow, that's beautiful. Let's go to public comment on this item, please. Public comment? No, Jim? We're good? This one? Really? Wow. I was going to say I was going to come up for a public comment on this one. All right, beautiful. And so we're bringing it back up here. This is the quickest recusal we've had in the history of Newport Beach right here. Perfect. Seeing no other comments up here, I'll go ahead and move staff recommendation on this item if I have a second. Thank you by Councilmember Weber. Let's go ahead and vote.
Motion passes unanimously by those members present and with the noted recusals of the mayor and the mayor pro tem.
Joe, they've told me to just take over from this point. It's been just that great. That's what I'm known for.
All right, item number 26, another public hearing amending Title 2021 of Newport Beach Muni Code related to the tenants of Pickleball Club at Newport Beach located at 1602 East Coast Highway. Did any council members have a conflict on this item?
I am going to once again recuse myself just to avoid any appearance of bias based on relationship with my husband's company.
Okay, terrific. Do any council members need a staff report on this item? Staff report on this? Everyone's good? Okay. Any questions, comments by council? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and open the floor for the public hearing related to this item. Any public comments related to this hearing? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back here. Any additional council comments or questions? All right, do we have a first? First by Councilmember Blom, second by Councilmember Weber. Let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously by those members present and with the noted recusal of the mayor pro tem.
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and get the Mayor Pro Tem back, and then we'll go ahead and begin on current business. Another public hearing on item 27, City Manager Employment Agreement. My understanding is that California law does require an oral report related to this item, so Mr. Harp, would you please give us a brief report?
Thank you, Mayor Sipton. The proposed agreement with the city manager provides for a term from December 27th, 2025 through December 30th, 2030, and that'll start basically at the end of the current city manager's term. A base salary of $363,071 with future increases tied to the percentage salary increase that's provided to key management employees, which is 4% in 2026 and 3% in 2027. A performance bonus starting in 2026 of a lump sum of 2.5% of his adjusted annual base salary, and that'd be payable on the next normal pay that includes December 27, 2026. An annual physical exam with a reimbursement up to $2,500, a phone allowance the same as all other employees, a $750 auto allowance, attorney's fees up to $5,000, reimbursement to review the agreement, deferred comp beginning in 2026 of $51,000 that increases to $5,000 by $5,000 per year thereafter. Caliber's contribution of 8%, which is tied to key and management employees. A severance benefit of up to 12 months base salary and 6 months cafeteria allowance. Administrative leave of 120 hours, and the other benefits provided to key and management employees. Thank you.
Okay. Any council members have any questions or comments? Go ahead, Mr. Wagon.
Mr. Attorney, there seems to be some, community chatter that we're, doing this in the wrong process. Could you just explain that that's not the case and it's set forth in our charter the way that we're allowed to accept the process here and move forward with the way that we've done it?
Yeah, I definitely think that the charter sets forth the process for the selection and appointment of a city manager, and the city council has followed that process. I know some people would like more information about the process, but this is confidential proceedings that you have, given the personnel nature of the matters. So we can't really get into detail, but I can assure you that there was a process, then that process was followed, and the charge has been fully complied with.
Okay. Any comments here on council? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and open public comments on this hearing item. Any public comments on this item? Mr. Mosier.
Thank you again, Mayor Stapleton and members of the council. My name again is Jim Mosier, and I do believe residents are entitled to have different opinions than your city attorney has. And I would like to point out that this is not just an action on a contract, but it is an appointment. And you would be adopting a resolution appointing a city manager tonight, not just a contract. And I do not believe you did that at your last meeting, because if you had, the Brown Act would have required you to announce the appointment, and you quite pointedly did not. I object to the process, especially because there is no urgency about this matter. You have 5 months until you need to appoint a city manager. And as the city attorney pointed out, we have a procedure that we, the residents, expect you to follow because it is in our city charter. And it says that in the selection of a city manager, the council shall screen all qualified applicants and other qualified persons known by the council to be available. To screen applicants, there has to be an application process. The public is not aware that there was any application process. We have a vacancy in the position of city clerk. For that position, we know there is an application process because somebody, I don't know if it was you or who, contracted with our recruitment firm that works for us, and they put out an application, and we've apparently received applications for the city clerk position. The public is not aware of, at least I am not aware of any such process being followed here. And I don't know how you can have applicants without inviting applications. That did not happen. We don't know if there were, how many there were. I would point out in the past 2 appointments of city managers, first Dave Kiff in 2009, and then of Grace in 2018, the resolution began proclaiming that we had conducted a nationwide search for the best city manager. In 2009, we promoted an assistant city manager, Dave Kiff, to that position, but it was only after doing what the charter said, which was to screen all possible applicants. Whether you agree with that or not, I have problems with the particular applicant that you are recommending, and I outlined in writing here a number of things that seem to indicate kind of ethical lapses. And I would point out many times on your closed session agenda, you've been reviewing a lawsuit that is filed by our Human Resources Director, and the text of at least the original complaint has been posted online, and it cites, in addition to the kind of skirting of laws that I have cited here, possibly deletion of emails to evade the Public Records Act and other possible ethical lapses. So in view of that and the 5 months that you have to make an appointment, I really think that we should be looking at all possible applicants as the charter requires. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Adam Leverance, one more time. I'll just open by saying that I've had a number of interactions with Mr. Jurgis. They've always been pleasant and cordial. He seems certainly well qualified, but reading through Mr. Mosier's written remarks, there are some concerns that I hope that Mayor and Council will look into, and I'd drive this back to my previous comments that the city seems to be catering more to business than the constituents, and I think that, you know, as the gentleman speaking on short-term lodging says, he's surprised more people aren't here. There's a lot of people that I mean, this isn't the most exciting thing to do. Thank you all for being here all the time and all the other meetings you do. But there is a lot of concern, and I don't know if that'll, reflect in elections or whatnot, but just exercise due diligence. I, again, appreciate Mr. Harp's observations of the financial implications of this. I'll note that the new city manager, his annual physical amount is twice of what the current city manager is in at $2,500 a year, and the auto allowance is $250 more a month at $750 a month for the auto allowance. And if I understand correctly, the way this contract and the contract at the last meeting for the current city manager, during 2026, the taxpayers are going to be paying almost $1 million to have two city managers. And there's some speculation on why that might be, which I'm still digging into, and some of it sounds like a conspiracy theory. But as Mr. Mosier noted, there needs to be some thought put into this. I mean, if it's as Mr. Harp said, private negotiations are not to be under the eye of public scrutiny, but it seems like there's enough things of concern and there's enough time that this could be looked at further. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments on this hearing item? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back here. Mr. Blum, you have any comments or questions?
I do, and I'm not going to talk about the process in general because that was a piece that we've worked through internally, and it's very important for everyone up here to make sure that the right people are in charge of the city. And by no means does that have any focus on Grace, who has been an amazing city manager throughout this entire time that I've been on council. And, I consider her a friend. I consider the time she's worked here utterly amazing. We walked into this with fiscal concerns. We've adjusted those. Some of the issues that Mr. Mosier has brought up about Mr. Juris, I'm just going to categorically say those are incorrect. He has made decisions that were based on the betterment of this city time and time again, and I get it through all sorts of different lenses. Those can be construed as either positive or negative. That's the beauty of looking at things. They're never easy decisions, ever. And so as you're walking through and deciding what's in the best nature, I think it's important for a lot of us to realize we've just made it through one of the hardest and most daunting periods in this city's history, where we've had more mandates come down from the state upon Newport Beach than possibly in the history of this government. Mosier will fact check that, and I hope he does, because I would like to make sure that that's still correct. But in my opinion, that is the reality of what we're looking at. And because of that, we are looking for the future of what that leadership brings forth. And, Simone has my full support in this. I think as we're going headlong into tailwinds, it has not been easy to navigate this role. In fact, a lot of cities we would normally align with, we have not. We didn't take an adversarial approach to the state. We took something that was akin to what the city is known for: strong negotiation to get what's best for the people of Newport Beach. And that's what we're going to continue to work for, and Simone has led us in a really great way to make that happen. And so as we look towards what this future is and how we look at it, I think the decision, I understand that a lot of people out there want it to be more difficult. They want us to go out there and really pound the pavement to find the right person. But what is it, from my perspective, I own businesses. I promote from within because they have an institutional knowledge of what we do. They know the people around them. They have the support of those people. That is extremely important. And when this transition can be done with a couple of high fives and everyone's happy, great. That is what Newport is about. We're not here to fight we're not here to create problems. We're here to create a solution that works well for all of us. And so, I, for one, am extremely happy about the way we're working through this. And, as Mr. Leverin said, yes, there's always a conspiracy theory somewhere. But the reality is it doesn't exist here. What exists here is moving forward with logic and sanity, which have been the cornerstones for how Newport Beach operates. We're not here to fight. We're here to find the best solution. And so I, for one, am very, very thankful of both Grace's tenure here and Mr. Juris coming in. So that's all.
Okay. A couple high fives. A little bit more work than that, but we'll take it. Any other council comments? Okay. Well, it sounds like that was a motion, Mr. Blum. Okay. I'll second that with the theory of Grace. Congratulations. Thank you for your hard-earned service here to the city of Newport Beach. We're all tremendously grateful, and your continued service throughout the end of my term here this year through December, and Simone Georges, potentially our next city manager after this vote. Thank you for your continued service to our community and the legacy that you'll continue with our strong city managers in the past. So thank you to both of you. Let's vote.
Motion carries unanimously by those members present.
Okay. Congratulations. Well deserved. Okay, Madam Clerk, please read the announcement for a motion for reconsideration.
A motion to reconsider the vote on any action taken by the City Council at either this meeting or the previous meeting may be made only by one of the council members who voted with the prevailing side.
Okay, any motions for reconsideration? Hearing none, I do have a quick announcement I forgot to make during the public comments. Next Wednesday, July 30th, you can join myself with our Fire Chief Boyles. Boyles is doing the Demolition Derby. Myself, Eric Wagon, and Noah Blom, and Sarah Weber will be doing the figure 8 at the county fairgrounds. It's meant to not be a demolition derby, but I can promise you I'm going back for blood. I did win last year. The trophy is in the office, so I'll leave it at that. But we are raising money for Chalk Hospital. So I don't know, Wednesday afternoon next week, the 30th at the fairgrounds. So please come out and enjoy that and raise some money for Chalk Hospital. Okay, that being said, any public comments on the closed session items? Mr. Mosier.
Mayor Stapleton and members of the council, my name is Jim Mosier. I think I've made similar comments before. This is another matter on which, as a resident, I have a different opinion from our city attorney. Item A on the closed session is 2 items of litigation that are apparently pending against the city of Newport Beach. The public in general, and myself in particular, are not informed what this litigation might be about. I could go to the courthouse, maybe I could go to the city attorney's office and ask what it's about so I could comment intelligently to you on it. My comment is it really would not hurt the world if in these announcements under the litigation it gave a 1-sentence indication of what the litigation is about. The city council the city under a former city manager, city attorney, did that for a little while. It's certainly helpful for the public to know what you're discussing in closed session. In the current case, I was surprised to see that the city is being sued by the Newport Coast Community Association, which you just went out of your way to make a opening for them on the aviation committee. I'm guessing maybe because item 3, which had to do with fire maps, is being postponed. Maybe this has something to do with this, maybe not. I don't know. Why should the public not know? Why should it not say on the agenda what the litigation is about? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comments on closed session items? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Harp, City Attorney, please announce our closed session items.
Thank you. The City Council will adjourn a closed session to meet regarding 2 litigation matters. The first one, Newport Coast Community Association versus Newport Beach, and the second is Rachel Roberts versus Newport Beach, as well as to meet with the labor negotiators regarding negotiations with the Newport Beach City Employee Association, and that's on the agenda under item 23A and B.
Okay, terrific. We stand adjourned. Thank you. We back? Okay. City Attorney Harp, is there a closed session report?
Thank you, Mayor. There's no closed session report this evening.
Okay, seeing none, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.